Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. Today it's time for a new video and it's going to be for the pickups actually of April and May of 2017. Hopefully this video there's not going to be too much background noise, I hope at least, since all of a sudden it decided to be summer here in London, but that means that it can get pretty hot in this room and I have to keep the window open or I will suffocate. So hopefully it's not too noisy, but of course it's you know my videos, of course sirens have to pass every 5 seconds when I decided to make videos, so let's hope not. Pick up quite a lot of stuff, of course it's been 2 months, and again, if you know me, you can expect movies to easily outnumber the games, but pick up also interesting games for a bit of everything, especially a lot of movies. So let's just start it since there's a lot to talk about it. And of course let's start with the games, since after all this is primarily a gaming channel. I focused especially, I have to say, on the DS 3DS family, and let's start with a game for the DS, which I was always curious about it since it's from a series that I liked both originally, and I explain why, and more recently. And I was very curious of the idea of these games on portable consoles, and I'm talking about Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword. I loved Ninja Gaiden since the original days on the NES. I played Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, I believe I own. I played 1, never finished because it's a brutal game, but I never really tried to beat it. And I own Ninja Gaiden 2, but I haven't played much because I bought it more recently. And of course, I played and absolutely loved Ninja Gaiden, the sort of reboot of the series, on the original Xbox. It's one of the best games you can actually get on that machine, and it's a fantastic action game, brutally difficult, and I managed to actually finish that game on a pretty hard difficulty. It's one of my proudest gaming achievements actually. But always been curious about this spin-off or part of the story on the DS, just to see what they're going to do on that system. The graphics looks interesting, like both good, but also maybe it seems like there are self-shaded cutscenes or something. We'll see. If that's the case, it's going to be amazing, but very curious about it. And in the future would like to buy as well the PS Vita Ninja Gaiden game, because I really enjoy this series. I bought this, it wasn't very expensive, and I'm always happy to buy DS games. And speaking of DS game, this is something that I've always wanted, and for the longest time I wasn't able to get it because of pricing, of course, as every time I looked this game was like up there in prices, like £70 or something like that, outrageous amount of money. Recently, just out of curiosity, I was like, well, let's try to have a look, why not, and managed to find it for a more normal price. Of course, it wasn't a steal or a sweet deal. It was at least more than £25, so quite a lot, but that's the price, normal prices, of course, and unfortunately for RPGs on portable systems. And of course, if you want like games on the DS completed with box and everything, you have to be expected to pay a bit more. But this is probably one of the games on the DS that I wanted to play the most, and I cannot wait to start it quite soon. And the game, it's Front Mission. I remember distinctly playing and absolutely loved Front Mission 3 on the PlayStation 1. Might be kind of like the only one released in Europe as well, other than Front Mission Evolved. Since, of course, as you can see, this is the North American DS edition, because this game technically was not released in Europe, but as we know, the DS is region-free, thank God. So, strategy RPG with giant mechs, the Panzers. Supposed to have a really good story, supposed to play very good. I cannot wait, because Front Mission 3 is my first strategy RPG, as I said, on the PlayStation 1, and it has a special place in my heart. Also because I remember it was very, very good, both like from a storyline and storytelling perspective, but also like the combat system, the amount of customization that you can employ on your Panzers. So I cannot wait to play Front Mission. As I said, it's one of the games I wanted to play the most on the DS, and I'm super happy to finally have it. And spoiler alert, it's going to be one of the next games I'm going to play in the following months. And moving to the 3DS, again, this is one of the games I want to play the most on like the early stages of my 3DS collecting, playing, and everything. Especially because I feel guilty because I have ignored, not willingly, but I have ignored this series for the longest time, to the point that I have 2 games of this massive series, but I only played, not even to completion, 1, and that is the Tales of series. Yeah, I mean, it's probably the third biggest JRPG series after Final Fantasy and technically Dragon Quest. At this point, you can debate that probably Shin Megami Tensei is bigger here in the West, and probably, I'm quite sure, it's bigger than Dragon Quest. But Tales, of course, on the 3DS, I'm talking about Tales of the Abyss. Always been very curious about it. Heard like very, very good reviews, or at least like a lot of praise to this game. Supposed to have a great story, a great set of characters. And I always, since as I said, I only play one Tales game, and that was Tales of Phantasia, which is the first in the whole series on the Game Boy Advance. So it's kind of a rudimental Tales games, and I really want to play more modern ones to have a better idea. Like, I'm desperately looking for Tales of Hearts, Tales of Graces. What's the one on the PS Vita now? I cannot remember. But again, that's always very expensive for some reason. So I really wanted to play Tales of the Abyss to have a better idea of a modern Tales game. I know that this was originally on the PS2, but of course it's much easier for me to play on the 3DS, since I have my 3DS here and it's on the go. So cannot wait to play this. It's going to happen quite soon. We'll see. I mean, I keep accumulating like this big RPGs, so we'll see. Next 2 items are from the same series, and first and foremost, it's the game that I'm playing right now. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year, together with Mass Effect, and of course I'm talking about Cherries in the Sky, the third, the final chapter of the Cherries in the Sky trilogy. Playing right now after I downloaded on Steam. Of course, this is my Japanese PSP version, since I want to have at least a physical copy of all Legend of Heroes games. And I actually made a video recently showing that I have completed that, since I have a physical copy of every Legend of Heroes, so you can check it out if you're curious. But it's a phenomenal game. It's so great. I'm like way more than 30 hours in. I think getting near to the end, at least. I'm in the final chapter. I suppose I'm pretty sure there's going to be like an epilogue kind of chapter or something, but I'm quite into the game very much, and it's fantastic. Very curious in terms of story progression, but it's a Cherries in the Sky game. I absolutely love it. I love these characters. I love the combat system. The music, it's amazing, of course. Very, very good. There is a lot of introspection on characters. That's like there is a new character with Reyes. A lot more on Kevin, who is up until like first and second chapter was a sort of side character, but in here you really discover his past and story. And small spoiler, it's very dark stuff, and I love it. But fantastic game, a must if you like the Legend of Heroes, and especially Cherries in the Sky. You have to play if you want to complete the story. And since I mentioned it before, I forgot, also picked up in April Mass Effect Andromeda on the PS4. Made a first impressions video, and I'll just going to repeat. I don't understand why people is so much ass about this game. I mean, I personally found it extremely enjoyable. I mean, basically that game was the reason why I bought the PS4 in the first place, and thanks to that game I started to play my PS4. And I think, like, from a gameplay point of view, it was amazing. It's a lot of fun. The story, I really think it's interesting. The scope of the story, the whole idea of exploring a new galaxy, it's very cool. And definitely I recommend all of you guys to pick it up because it's a lot of fun. Don't listen to people who mindly criticize the game just because, like, oh, the face models are not perfect, it's not the best looking game on the PS4, but who cares? If you like Mass Effect, I think you're gonna like it because, like, I love the original trilogy. It's one of my favorite series ever, and I loved Andromeda. I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, I understand that it's kind of hip to piss on Mass Effect since and after Mass Effect 3, of course, but I think the game is fine. It's a lot of fun, actually. So you can probably find it for a decent price now. So definitely check out Mass Effect Andromeda. Fantastic game on the PS4. I don't care what everybody says. And finally, this is a collector item. Since, as I was saying before, I'm collecting every Legend of Heroes game and in physical form. This was the last piece missing from my collection, and it's a gorgeous super CD-ROM for the PC Engine, actually. For whatever reason, I decided to go this way, of Legend of Heroes 2, part of the Dragon's Lair 6 franchise. As you probably know or don't know, Legend of Heroes started as a sub-series in the Dragon's Lair series by Falcon. Already have, you can see in the back over there behind under Breath of Fire 2. It's my Legend of Heroes 1 on the Super Famicom. So with this, I have every Legend of Heroes game physical, from the first one up to Treasure Cold Steel 2. So very happy with myself. It's quite a big achievement for me. It's a testament of how much I love this series and these games. So we're done with games. Let's move to music, because I bought one CD actually before moving to movies, and I only bought one CD these 2 months for the simple reason that I was looking for so many more music. And yes, I still buy CDs. I don't buy vinyls. I don't care. I know that vinyls are the cool thing, but I don't care about that. CDs are fine. They take up less space, and I don't have all the equipment. I don't want to spend all the money for that. It's not worth it. CDs are fine. But the thing is, I was looking for so much more. But in stores now, it's so hard to find this kind of music, because I've been like, I really want to explore more like progressive alternative rock from like the 70s especially, or other stuff that, of course, it's impossible to find. So I have to buy CDs on Amazon, and for whatever reason, I'm not super keen on the idea. I mean, it's a stupid thing. I mean, I buy hundreds of movies and video games on Amazon already, but with CDs, I prefer going to the stores and stuff. But I tried with this because it was also so cheap, and it's a artist and musician that I am exploring a bit more recently, and that it's John Cougar, or John Mellencamp is his actual name, and specifically Big Daddy from 1989. This is a really good disc, I have to say. Up until now, by John Cougar, I only own American Fool, which is the disc that made him famous basically in the 80s, and has some classic songs by him like Hurt So Good, Jack and Diane, really great stuff. Big Daddy, it's very different. While American Fool, I found it very pure, simple rock and roll. Big Daddy, it's more of it has a more country sound, which it's very a welcome departure for me, because I'm super ignorant in country music, and why I don't know if this is pure country or stuff like that. I'm European, so I know nothing of American country music, but it's a very interesting album. There are some really good songs. I really dig John Mellencamp. I want to buy other discs And Big Daddy was a great start for keep exploring stuff. He's a really, really talented guy. Of course, he is famous, but yeah, I don't know if it's that famous here in Europe. I have no idea, honestly. But if you're interested in him, there are plenty of great stuff. He recently did a new album, Sad Clowns or something, I think they're called. Oh well, but give it a try. John Cougar or John Cougar Mellencamp or John Mellencamp. He changed his name quite a few times, but it's really, really great stuff. Movies. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, like a dozen movies here, so let's move quickly. As I mentioned in previous videos, I'm exploring Jackie Chan movies because for whatever reason I actually not ignore him, but kinda ignore him, not on purpose, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how to explain. Like, I haven't watched a lot of Jackie Chan movies growing up, so I'm kinda in the process of recuperating and studying. And of course I moved to Armor of God. Heard great things about it. It's very adventurous. I remember listening to a podcast by Johnny Millennium and Alpha Magazine that they talk a lot about Jackie Chan, and this sounds like a lot of fun. Cannot wait to explore it and watch more Jackie Chan in the future. This seems like a good way to move forward after I've watched Rumble in the Bronx, Police Story, fantastic movies. Next, we got Coriolanus, directed, other than acted by Ralph Fiennes. It's of course William Shakespeare's Coriolanus, and this is a very, very interesting readaptation of the Shakespeare play. And the thing that I loved, it's based basically in a modern, contemporary setting of the facts of the play, which, if you're not familiar, Coriolanus technically takes place in ancient Rome, like during the early Republican period. And it's so cool to see like the Romans and the Volsci fighting each other, like, but with machine guns. As you can see here, for example, the Romans they just look like U.S. Marines or something like this. And it has an amazing cast, actually. So if you never watch it, highly recommend it, because of course Ralph Fiennes is phenomenal, everything he does. To watch him all covered in blood with this, it's one of the scariest things you can get. But also, like, Gerard Butler, it's great as the leader of the Volsci. What's his name? I cannot remember. Tullus Aufidius. Yeah. There's Vanessa Gray, Brian Cox. Brian Cox, oh my god, every time I look at him, I always remember him from Manhunter, because to me, Brian Cox is the best Hannibal Lecter ever. Throwing the gauntlet. What else? James Nesbitt, but fantastic readaptation of a classic Shakespeare play. Highly recommended if you're curious. Really, really good stuff. Next, we got Nothing But the Night, a British movie from, what's that, the 70s, I think? It doesn't matter. Yeah, 72. The reason why I got this is, of course, for two names you can see on the top, naturally, because every time I see Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing together, my brain is automatically going to buy mode. I have to buy it because I absolutely love these two guys, two of my favorite British actors. Of course, I'm more familiar with them from the Hammer horror movies, but it's interesting also to see them in different stuff. And Nothing But the Night, it's an interesting movie. I was kind of expect something better, but it's not bad by any means of the imagination. It's an interesting, kind of a weird mystery story with a very twisted, I think, revelation towards the end. So if you're curious, maybe you can find it for dirt cheap, because it's worth buying just to see Cushing and Lee together, because they are fun. They have a perfect chemistry, I think, even when they're not playing Dracula, Frankenstein, Van Helsing, and all the glorious stuff. But in here, like, Christopher Lee is just a police officer and Peter Cushing is a doctor or something like that. But they're just amazing, and it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Oh, we're getting into a very good one. I love this movie. I remember what was it, last year or something, when I went to the British Film Festival, the London Film Festival, which is a very big event. I wanted to buy this DVD, but of course they have in their store, it's really pricey, simply because they're like very cool and hip, because they are the British Film Institute Center, so it's, for whatever reason, it's cooler. So instead of having DVDs at normal price, it's like much more. So they have this special edition of this DVD for like £15. I said like, oh no, thank you. And I bought this for like $3. And it's by David Cronenberg, Videodrome. This movie, it's amazing. Long live the new Flash. Yeah. This is such a cool and weird movie, probably as you would expect from David Cronenberg. I still need to watch the special content because I'm very curious about it. But very disturbing stuff at time, but not too much. Very interesting story, and wow, I mean, I love this. I cannot recommend Videodrome enough. So far, it's easily my favorite movie by Cronenberg. Awesome stuff, and I'm so glad that I found it for cheap because I really wanted to watch it. Yeah, James Woods. I cannot, not because I'm just rethinking of the movies and all this thing about like this adult movie market, and then this mysterious VHS tape, which like all this shit going on. It's phenomenal. Just watch Videodrome, it's fantastic. Next to movies, as you know, I'm a huge fan of film noirs. It's one of my favorite genre. And I bought two classics, one from, what's this, the 50s, and one from the 90s, so a classic film noir and a neo-film noir, which are considered both very good. And the first, it's The Killing by Kubrick, and the reason is that I'm going through a Kubrick phase. I'm rewatching all the movies and watching Kubrick movies that I haven't watched before, because it might happen. So The Killing is one of Kubrick movies that I never watched, and I'm super curious because I loved Stanley Kubrick, who doesn't, and my love for film noir is like, I have to watch this and I cannot wait to. I still haven't found the time, and neither for this other movie, which I'm super curious because I heard so many good things. I've always wanted to watch it, and for whatever reason, always kind of forget. I always skip this, but now I bought it and I just need to find the time to watch it. And that it's LA Confidential, neo-noir movie. I cannot wait to watch this. As I said, I don't know why I haven't. I always wanted to, but yeah, I cannot wait. I want to ideally like tonight or one of these nights, but I'm into this TV series phase in this past month. Like, I rewatched all of Friends, for fuck's sake, for whatever reason. Recently I visited my brother in Bristol, also because I needed to go to Cardiff for work stuff. And of course there is an excellent DVD stores, plenty over there, but one in particular which has a really interesting selection. And since I was there, of course, I bought a couple of DVDs. And one is a classic Western movie, another favorite genre of mine. It's the original title. Oh yeah, I can't remember. Which is A Bullet for the General, also called Quien Sabe. A classic Western movie which has a very interesting cast, like between the always amazing Jean Maria Valentine. Might be familiar from he was in both For a Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More, and like Klaus Kinski. Just the idea of Klaus Kinski, I remember him like again from A Few Dollars More as the one with the hunch. Cannot wait to watch it. Supposed to be an amazing classic. Again, as I said, still need for all these next movies. I haven't watched it just because I'm lacking the time. So I'm pretty busy from work, and trying to play Legend of Heroes the Third. Also started to watch TV series, and I really want to watch my movies. And the next one, I couldn't ignore this movie. I saw the cover, and I say, what the hell is this? The movie is Hell Comes to Frogtown. How can I ignore a movie like this? Look at the cover. So, fortunately, it was cheap. But then I read, like, other than the title and the cover that already caught my attention, there's Roddy Piper into this as the main character. How could I ignore a movie like this? I mean, maybe it's complete garbage, but I don't care. Roddy Piper into this kind of movies, to me, it instantly screams "They Live," and I know it's probably not the same. I know it's not the same thing, but I cannot wait to watch this movie. I think it's going to be hilarious. I just want to see Roddy Piper kicking ass and spewing one-liners or stuff like that, and I'm going to be very happy. So yeah, Hell Comes to Frogtown. How can you ignore movies like this when you saw them? The next three are interesting. As I was looking around here in London, my usual DVD store, and for whatever reason, I really want to buy some French movies because I love to watch movies in French here and there. And the first one, I don't even think it's in French. I'm not sure. No, it's not. It's in English. But it's, again, bought entirely because of the cover and what I read behind. It looks very interesting, especially from like a stylist point of view. It seems very interesting, and this Paris 2054 Renaissance. Never heard of this, but it looks interesting. It's supposed to like have this very stylized art and stuff with the voices of like Daniel Craig, I think. Let's see, Jonathan Pryce. Yeah, and so it sounds interesting. Also, if you put something like this on the back, like take Metropolis, Blade Runner, and Sin City, and you'll have a semblance of Renaissance. Wow, it has to be interesting. So we'll see if it's that good, but if it's remotely as good as like Metropolis or Blade Runner, some of the best movies of all time, maybe it's, who knows, maybe it is good. So very curious about this thing. The next two I'm very curious. Okay, the first is, it's a long title, I have to read it, like The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears. I have no idea what this thing is. I think it's like a murder mystery kind of thing. But again, if you put something like hallucinatory mind-expanding experience, of course you have my attention. It sounds very interesting idea. It's supposed to be this murder story that takes place in this only in an apartment, which it plays tricks with the protagonist's mind. So it goes into like this twisted and strange hallucinations and stuff like that. I was like, whoa, it sounds awesome. Of course, maybe it's going to be good. And this is in French actually, so we'll see. But it's, as I said, it sounds very interesting. I love to explore something different, not only the same things over and over. And I like this murder mystery stories. So The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears rolls off your tongue, you know, but it looks interesting. It has a touch of, it reminds me of Dario Argento's Deep Red in a way. I mean, just looking at behind or something like that, it looks interesting. We'll see. I hope it's not garbage. But, and finally, I'm super curious about this. The City of Lost Children. This on paper sounds awesome. Like a very weird, twisted, diesel punkish adventure, like of children being kidnapped by a mad scientist or something with crazy technology. Because French sci-fi movies can be very interesting, actually. So I'm super curious about it. Yeah, as I said, like a hellish, nightmarish laboratory. To steal, like this mad scientist is stealing children's dreams to reverse the aging process. I mean, again, something like this, of course, it's going to catch my attention. And the fact that this was extremely cheap, especially the fact like if you buy a movie, you get this almost for free. So I tried. It's a good way to find some movies that you never heard of. So, The City of Lost Children, very curious about it. Finally, last movie and item of our video. I actually watched this and I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Soylent Green. I believe this is from, I'm pretty sure this was a sci-fi novel. And it takes place in a very dystopian future where Earth is completely devastated by super overpopulation, and there are these soylent things which are a sort of substitution for food, and the new product is this Soylent Green. And I cannot say it. Charlton Heston, it's really good as this private investigator because a murder happens, of course. There's a lot of conspiracy behind all of this, and a big and very disturbing twist at the end that made the movie great. And it has this amazing in the cover, like riot control trucks that just pick up people like they're garbage or something like that. It's a very disturbing way of the future, like I like it, and a very cool movie actually. So that's it, the pickups of April and May 2017. Wasn't too long, was expecting much more, so that's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like always, I'll try to work on my next videos. In the meanwhile, I'll see you next time. Take care.